I have a simple question for you, but it might make you pause for a moment and really think. Have you ever felt like you're slowly becoming a quieter version of yourself? Not weaker, not broken, just not quite as alive as you used to feel. I'm not asking if you're sick. I'm talking about that feeling I've seen in the eyes of so many of my patients when they sit across from me at 60, 70, or even 80 years old and whisper, I'm still alive, but I'm not sure I'm really living anymore. If you've ever felt that way, I want you to know this, you're not alone. I've been a doctor for over 30 years. I've cared for thousands of people in their later years, people who were once strong, busy, full of responsibility and energy. And then one day life began to slow down. It got quieter. And sometimes they started to feel invisible. But I've also met others at the exact same age who still had light in their eyes, who still walked with confidence, who lived each day like it was a gift. And you know what? They weren't necessarily healthier, they weren't richer, they didn't have better genes, they just chose to live differently. I want you to imagine this. One morning, you wake up not with a heavy sigh, not with that familiar weight in your chest, but with a gentle curiosity. Can I live a little lighter today? A little more joyfully, a little deeper? Just a little bit. That's all it takes to begin. I know. Once we pass 50, the world starts to change around us. We're not the center of attention anymore. The invitations slow down. Our bodies send us different signals. And sometimes, our minds feel a little out of step with the present. But you know what? Growing older isn't about going down. It's about going inward. Inward into our memories. Inward toward the things we truly cherish. Inward toward the value of a life that's no longer measured by achievement, but by depth. And the beautiful part is this. It's right now when we have the time, the space, and the quiet that we get to choose again. Not to redo our lives, but to live the rest of it fully and on our own terms. No one's asking you to change everything, but if you're sitting here today listening to me, then maybe there's a soft, quiet voice inside your heart whispering, I want to live differently. I want to live more truly. And if you're ready, I'm here too. Not to tell you how to live, but to walk with you one step at a time. Because sometimes all it takes is someone reminding you that there is still so much to live for. So let's start here. Not to do something grand, but to remember the simplest truth, you're still alive. And you can live in a way that makes you smile again. Keep your mind active every single day. I once asked a 78-year-old man, a man who had been retired for almost 2 decades, what makes you still feel like yourself? He didn't answer right away. But then he pointed to the book he was halfway through and said, because I still want to learn one new thing every day. I've never forgotten that answer. Because the moment you still feel curious, still want to learn, still want to ask questions, still want to understand, your mind is alive. And when the mind is alive, life still feels colorful. You know, there's something people don't talk about enough. Your brain needs exercise, just like your muscles do. If you don't use it, it shrinks too. It gets lazy, it slows down, and slowly, the things that once felt clear in your head start to fade. Someone's name, a familiar address. Even the memories you cherish most start to drift away like smoke. But here's the amazing thing. You don't need to become a scientist or an artist to keep your brain sharp. You just need to stay curious, to give your mind a little movement every day. Read a newspaper article in the morning. Try a simple Sudoku. Learn how to cook something new. Or call your grandkid and ask, hey, how do I download music on this new phone of mine? As long as you keep your brain gently challenged, without pressure, without stress, just nudged a little each day, it'll respond. I had a patient once, her name was Eleanor. She's 84 now. She used to be a grade school teacher. When she first retired, she thought she'd just sit around watching TV all day. But then she started writing her memoirs, not to publish them, just to remember her life. She told me, when I write about my memories, I feel like I'm living them all over again. And you know what? Just 3 months into her writing routine, her memory got sharper. She laughed more. And she told stories with the wit of a stage performer. I'm sharing this with you because keeping your mind awake isn't a chore. It's a privilege. At this stage of life, we're not chasing trophies anymore. But we can still choose to wake up each day with a fresh idea, a story, a song, a meaningful conversation, or even a gentle memory. If you've been feeling foggy lately, don't assume it's just something you have to accept. Try doing something a little unusual today. and see how your mind responds. It'll thank you, and soon enough, you'll start to feel it. You're not just getting through the day, you're living it. And slowly, you'll begin to remember who you are. Stay socially connected. Keep your close relationships alive. There's something that modern medicine is becoming more and more certain about. Loneliness isn't just a feeling, it's a condition, a quiet kind of illness. No fever, no antibiotics, but it chips away at both your physical and mental health in ways you'd never expect. I've met plenty of older folks who are physically well. They eat right, sleep fine, even exercise. But still they feel empty, disconnected, and tired in a way they can't explain. And when I ask them, when was the last time you really opened up to someone? Some of them just sit there silent for so long. It's like they're trying to recall something they forgot long ago. Have you ever felt that way? We often tell ourselves we're fine being alone, that we don't need anyone. But the truth is we do need people, not to live our lives for us, but to remind us that we're still here. A pair of eyes meeting yours while you speak. A laugh shared over an old memory, a handshake, a hug that comes when you least expect it. That's all it takes sometimes to soften an entire gray day. There have been many large studies in the US from Harvard to California showing that older adults with strong social ties live longer, get sick less often, and even experience less cognitive decline. In fact, the impact of social connection is as powerful as quitting smoking. So I want you to think of someone, maybe an old classmate, a neighbor you used to chat with, or a grandchild you haven't called in a while. Someone whose voice once brought warmth into your day. If their name just popped into your head, maybe it's time to reach out. Let me tell you about one of my patients, Walter. 81 years old. He lost his wife a decade ago. Lived alone. Each day a carbon copy of the one before wake up. Breakfast, news, wait for evening. I asked him, when was the last time you had a fun, honest conversation with someone? He looked down and whispered, I don't remember. We sat quietly for a bit. Then I suggested he try the local senior community center. There was a book club for older adults. At first he refused, but a few weeks later he called me, and his voice sounded like he'd dropped to 10 years. He said I didn't think I could laugh that much again. I thought I was done making new friends, but maybe I still have space for kindness. And I believe you do too. You don't need a crowd to feel connected, just one person who really sees you. Just one real conversation. But don't let yourself disappear completely from the world. Whether you live alone or with family, remember, close connections don't just happen, they need care like a garden. And if you take that first step, a message, a coffee invite, a simple nod to your neighbor, sooner or later, life will bloom back at you. Walking. A small habit with big impact. When was the last time you took a walk? Without being in a rush, not to get groceries, not to grab the mail, but just to walk as a way to reconnect with yourself. I'm not asking to test you. I ask because I've seen something incredible happen. Starting with simple little steps like that, I once had a patient named Doris, 76 years old. She came into my office with heavy legs, tired eyes, and this kind of quiet fog hanging over her mood. But what struck me the most wasn't her blood pressure or cholesterol. It was what she said, Doctor, I don't see anything beautiful anymore. The world feels blurry. I didn't give her pills. Instead, I offered something else. This week, I said every morning before you turn on the TV, just walk for 10 minutes around your block. Don't go fast. Don't go far. Just walk. And notice if anything makes you smile. The next week, Doris came back. There was no miracle. But when she spoke, her eyes had a little more light. She told me I saw a hydrangea blooming. It was so purple I stopped walking for 2 whole minutes. Just 2 minutes. But enough to make her heart feel alive again. You see, walking isn't just physical exercise, it's a way to come back to the world step by step. Medically speaking, regular walking lowers the risk of heart disease by up to 40%. It helps with blood pressure, blood sugar, and even slows down cognitive decline. But I'm not telling you this so you feel like a walking data chart. I'm saying it because your body is still here, waiting for your care, and you are the one who gets to offer it. Every step you take is a message to your heart. I'm still here. To your lungs. Breathe deep. Don't fade into silence. To your legs that have carried you through a lifetime, I still need you. And you don't have to do it perfectly. You don't need to walk far. You don't need a fitness tracker or fancy shoes. All you need is to step outside, look up at the sky, feel your breath, and let your body do what it was designed to do, move. If walking alone feels too quiet, bring someone, an old friend, a grandchild, or even the you from yesterday, the one waiting for you to come back and live a little more today. And if you ask me, can just walking really change anything? I'd say this: it's not just your heart or joints that change, it's the way you see the world. And even more than that, it's the way you see yourself. You are not invisible. You are not worn out. You are still here, still breathing. And if today you step out that door and take a 10-minute walk, then maybe, just maybe, you're also taking a step back toward yourself. Prioritizing quality. Sleep. Have you ever found yourself lying in bed, lights off, everything quiet around you, yet inside something just won't settle? You close your eyes, shift positions, listen to the ticking clock echo like slow dripping time, and then you open your eyes again. The night passes, but you never truly rest. I know that feeling all too well, not just because I've heard it from hundreds of patients, but because I've lived it too. And here's something I've come to understand. When we're young, we take sleep for granted, but once we hit 60, it becomes one of the most precious things we have. Sleep isn't just the end of a day. It's the moment when the mind clears itself of clutter, when the heart slows down, the liver resets, and the spirit gets a little peace. A deep, dreamless sleep uninterrupted can soothe a body worn down by decades of stress and worry. Science is clear on this. Chronic lack of sleep raises your risk for heart disease, diabetes, and even dementia. But I'm not telling you this to scare you. I'm telling you because I believe you deserve better rest, the kind that feels like a gentle hug from yourself to yourself. I had a patient once, an 82-year-old gentleman who hadn't slept well in nearly 15 years. Not because of any major illness, but because of habits: strong tea after dinner, late night news, and sometimes a snack just before bed. We didn't prescribe medication. We made small changes. No tea after 5 p.m., TV off earlier. A warm lamp instead of bright overhead lights. Soft music, maybe a few pages from a book before bed. 2 weeks later, he told me, "For the first time in years, I had a beautiful dream. I was walking with my wife, like when we first got married." See, sometimes what we really need isn't a sleeping pill. It's a little tenderness toward ourselves. A slower evening, a dimmer room, a message to the body. It's time to rest now. You don't have to keep fighting. If you often wake in the night or toss and turn for hours, maybe pause and ask yourself, am I treating sleep like a friend or just a doorway to tomorrow? Because I believe sleep isn't just the space between 2 days. It's the bridge that carries you into the next day with calm, with clarity, and with strength. So tonight, if you choose to make your bed a little earlier, turn off your phone a little sooner, and breathe a little slower, you're not just taking care of your sleep. You're taking care of the quietest, deepest part of who you are. Strength training. Keeping your muscles and your freedom. There's a moment in my clinic I'll never forget. A petite woman in her early 70s walked in, leaning gently on her cane. When I asked her what bothered her the most, she didn't mention blood pressure or cholesterol. She just looked at me and said, "Doctor, I can't open a jar of jam by myself anymore." Now that might sound small, but I understood it completely. And I think you do too. Because when you can't do something as simple as twist open a lid, carry a meal, or get up from a couch without help, what's slipping away isn't just strength, it's a sense of control over your own life. You see, when we're young, muscle strength is just there. It's effortless. But starting around age 50, our muscles begin to fade little by little quietly until one day we realize we're sitting more, walking slower, and tiring faster. This is a natural process. There's even a name for it: sarcopenia, age-related muscle loss. But here's the beautiful part. It's not a life sentence. It can be slowed. It can even be reversed. And no, you don't need a gym membership. You don't need heavy weights. You just need to begin. A few simple movements each day. Stand up and sit down slowly a few times. Lift 2 small water bottles like dumbbells. Do gentle wall push-ups. Raise your leg while sitting in a chair. These aren't just exercises. They're messages to your body that say, I still need you. I remember one gentleman, 79 years old, who told me, I'm not afraid of dying. I'm afraid of living without being able to put my pants on by myself. So he started small. Every morning, 10 minutes, shaky hands, weak knees, but he kept going. And 3 months later, he proudly said, I climbed all 10 steps to my front porch without getting winded. Sounds simple, doesn't it? But to him, that was a victory. And I believe it can be your victory too. Because building strength isn't just about being stronger, it's about freedom. The freedom to grocery shop alone, the freedom to play with your grandkids without fear of falling, the freedom to look in the mirror and say, I still have control over my life. You don't need to do a lot, just be consistent. If tomorrow you can do one more squat, lift your foot just a little higher, or get up from a chair without using your hands, that's progress. And if you have medical conditions, concerns about your heart or joints, talk to your doctor. But don't let fear stop you from trying, because I've seen it time and time again. The people who choose movement keep their sense of purpose, not just in their bodies, but in their souls. Your body has carried you through so many years. Now help it carry you through many more. And if tomorrow morning you rise, do 5 simple moves. Take a deep breath and whisper to yourself, I did it. Then, my friend, you've just taken a powerful step back toward yourself. A balanced, healthy diet, how you speak to your body. I often tell my patients this. The food you choose each day is how you speak to your body, either with love or with neglect. It may sound harsh at first, but after decades in medicine, I truly believe nothing shapes the quality of your aging more clearly than what you put on your plate. I once had a patient. His name was Harold, 67 years old, who came into my office looking tired and a little defeated. He sighed and said, I still eat like usual, but I feel more drained every day. When I asked about his meals, he listed white bread, sausages, soda, and fast food here and there for convenience. He wasn't unaware of how unhealthy it was, he just got used to it. And then he said something that stuck with me. At my age, I don't want to suffer through some strict diet anymore. I paused, and then I gently asked, but do you think struggling to walk or injecting insulin every day is less of a burden? He fell quiet. That moment was a turning point. We started small, just one change per meal. Boiled sweet potato instead of white bread, a plate of stir-fried greens instead of French fries. And 6 weeks later, Harold returned. His eyes were brighter, his step a little lighter, and he smiled as he said, I didn't expect eating healthier would make me feel lighter inside. You see, eating well isn't about deprivation. It's about living with more ease. It's about helping your body rise above the flood of fat, sugar, and salt. It's about letting your heart work a little less hard. It's about keeping your mind clear enough to still remember your grandchild's name when you're 80. I'm not asking you to give up everything you love. I'm simply inviting you to reconnect with what's gentle and real, a plate of fresh vegetables, a few slices of grilled fish, a bowl of brown rice, seasonal fruit, a handful of almonds in the afternoon. This isn't just food. It's a message of love whispered into every cell in your body. And if you've ever thought it's too late for me to change, I want you to know this. Your body doesn't hold your past against you. It's just waiting for you to begin doing the right things starting today. So the next time you open your fridge, look inside as if you're looking into your own heart. Choose something that strengthens you, not just something that comforts you for a moment. Because when you eat to nourish, rather than just to fill you plant seeds for a future that isn't dependent, a future where you are still in charge. People don't grow old just because of time. Many grow old because they eat without care. So if today you swap a bag of chips for an apple, if you trade a soda for a glass of cold, clean water, that's not a small act. That's the first step in earning back your body's trust, staying hydrated, and saying no to harmful drinks. Have you ever noticed? We often forget to drink water, but we rarely forget our cup of coffee, our bubble tea, or even an icy cold soda. I had a patient, her name was Martha, 70 years old, living alone. She came to me complaining of frequent dizziness, headaches, dry skin, and persistent fatigue. At first, she thought it was anemia or something serious. But when I gently asked, how much plain water do you drink each day? She paused, then sighed. Maybe 1 or 2 glasses, the rest is iced tea and bottled juice. That story is more common than you'd think. As we age, our sense of thirst fades. You may not feel thirsty, but that doesn't mean your body isn't in need. And once dehydration sets in, the dominoes begin to fall. Your heart works harder. Your kidneys slow down. Your skin dries. Your mind fogs. And sometimes just one dizzy moment is all it takes for a dangerous fall. I often ask my patients to imagine their body as a garden. When you stop watering it, the plants don't die overnight, but the soil begins to crack, the leaves dry up, and life gradually fades. Your body is that garden. It needs water not when you're already parched, but before the thirst even comes. So, how much water do you need? On average, older adults should drink about 1.5 to 2 liters per day. That's around 6 to 8 glasses. But more than the number, it's about the rhythm. Start your day with a warm glass of water, one glass before each meal, another after a walk, a few sips before bed. Build a quiet ritual of hydration. And just as important, be cautious of drinks that look like water but work against you. I'm talking about soda-sweetened bottled juices, energy drinks, and even that nightcap glass of wine you think helps with sleep. These aren't harmless beverages. They're chemicals mixed with sugar or alcohol, and they leave you more dehydrated harm. Your liver wear down, your kidneys spike your blood sugar, and worst of all, they dull your taste for clean, natural drinks. I had another patient, Lewis, in his 80s. He gave up his daily soda habit after a hospitalization caused by mild kidney failure and dehydration. When I asked if he missed it, he smiled and said, "At first I did, but now a warm glass of water tastes like peace." You see, caring for your body doesn't have to be expensive or complicated. Sometimes it's just about returning to the simplest, purest things: clean water, warm water, unsweetened herbal tea, a bowl of clear homemade broth. These are the quiet companions of aging. Not flashy, not loud, but always there, nourishing you gently from within. And if today you begin with just one glass of water, no ice, no sugar, no color, then you've already taken a powerful step toward reconciling with your own body. Because sometimes health isn't in a pill or a miracle cure. Sometimes it's in a sip, keeping the flame alive. Your passion keeps you young. I still remember a spring Sunday afternoon in Oregon nearly 10 years ago. That day I sat with Mr. Jack, an 82-year-old patient who had once been a university physics professor. Though his eyes had grown dim and his hands trembled slightly every time he spoke about the formulas in his old books, his voice would light up like sunshine after rain. I asked him, "At your age, how do you still keep such fire in you?" He gently smiled and replied, "Because each morning I wake up, I still have something to do and something to love." That answer, has stayed with me through all my years in medicine. Because nothing makes a person age faster than believing their role in life is over. I've met many people in their 70s and 80s whose eyes still sparkled like they were 30. Why? Because they still had passion. Some taught art to orphans. Some were learning the ukulele through online videos. One old woman wrote short stories every morning from her dreams the night before. No one told them they should do it. They did it because their hearts whispered, "Keep going." Have you ever felt that your heart sink because no one calls you for help anymore? Because no one seems to need you? I know that feeling too well. But I've also learned this. You don't need validation from others to live a meaningful life. You just need one reason, however small, to step into tomorrow. Maybe you love gardening. Then plant. Maybe you once loved drawing. Then try again. You enjoy writing memories. Start with a single page today. You feel joy helping your grandchild with homework. That is a living passion, right there. Passion isn't something grand or glamorous. It's the quiet current of life still flowing within you. And when you nurture it, you're not only keeping your mind sharp, you're watering your emotions. You're giving your body a reason to rise and move. Did you know many studies in the US have shown older adults who have a clear sense of purpose live longer, have fewer symptoms of depression, and recover faster from illnesses? Not because they're stronger, but because they know why they're living. I once asked an elderly woman at a nursing home, "Do you feel lonely when your children rarely visit?" She looked at me and said, "Sometimes. But I still have my piano. I have a book I haven't finished. And I have afternoon tea with my old friends. I still have small joys that are just mine." You see, aging isn't a punishment. It's an opportunity, a chance to finally live from the essence you've gathered your whole life. And if today your spirit feels dim, it doesn't mean you've lost something. It may just mean you need to rekindle a small flame, just enough to warm the seasons ahead. Here's something I've learned after more than 30 years as a doctor and 60 years as a human being. We don't truly grow old because of age. We grow old because we stop connecting with what makes us feel alive. You can be 70, 80, or beyond, but if every morning you still have something to look forward to, a cup of warm tea, a chapter left in your book, a friend to call and ask, "How are you today?" then you're living a full and meaningful life. I know not every day is easy. There will be mornings when your joints feel stiff, your mind feels tired, and your heart is heavy with old memories. But those are the very mornings when you need to return to yourself. Stretch gently, sip something warm, write a few lines, step outside and feel the air on your face. Aging, when done with care, can be the most gentle and liberating part of life. No more chasing approval. No more rushing to meet expectations. No more pleasing everyone else. Just living so that each night as you close your eyes, your heart feels light. And each morning as you open them, you still feel the warmth of being alive. You have the right to choose how you live. Even if others say your best days are behind you, you still have the power to make these years the most beautiful ones. Not to prove anything, but to enjoy everything. And I'm not here to teach you anything new, only to remind you of what your soul already knows. Your body is a garden, your mind is a river, and aging is not winter. It is autumn quiet, golden, and full of depth. Live like the last leaf on the branch, unafraid to fall, but full of wind, because you know you are still part of the eternal painting we call life.